You're listening to Tuning In with Jeffrey Kipple. And sometimes Mindy.
Welcome to Tuning In. Yeah, this is where we get to sit down and chat with authors and artists and musicians and creators and innovators and athletes and specialists of all types.
It is our hope to provide a platform for passion-fueled, purpose-driven individuals who want to make a difference in their own lives and in the lives of others. Others being you and anyone who's deciding to be tuning in to the lived experiences, the life lessons, and the discoveries that led to creations, innovations, and messages that they want to share.
Yeah. So tune in, laugh, learn, get inspired. Tune in, tune in, tune in, tune in, tune in with Jeff and sometimes Mindy. Who's Jeff? I'm Jeff.
Who's Mindy? I'm Mindy.
Tune in.
So tune in, tap in, and take action. Tune in to their wisdom, tap into your potential, and take action to unleash your superhero. Welcome to Tuning In with Jeff and sometimes Mindy.
So tune in and enjoy the show.
Welcome to episode number two of Tuning In with Jeff and sometimes Mindy.
That's me.
Today's guest is a novelist and screenwriter. Her name is Wren Handman.
Hey, Wren.
And we got to sit down with her and learn about how she blends the magical moments into everyday life.
It was really interesting. So tune in. The very first section is about getting to know the heart, the art, and the flow of the guest. So welcome, Wren.
Thank you so much for having me. Hi, everyone.
Just to get started, what I liked really from the bio that you sent us was that whole notion of being able to find magic in every day, right? And It's being able to be in that creative, fun space to be able to find that. But what does that mean to you? Like, to find magic in every day?
Good question, Jeff.
It's a good question. I think it means finding the moments to really sink into and appreciate, finding those little things, setting off sparklers in the park with your friends can be a moment that sticks with you forever if you find that moment of beauty in it and that picture moment in everything. And I think that's something that I really try to do, is find those everyday moments that still become magical because of the emphasis that you're putting on them and the emotions that surround them.
That's really cool. I really like how you frame that. It was almost giving me that vision of being able to picture that and making it into a magic.
Is it something that you kind of consciously decide this is like going to be a magical moment because it's like a cool experience, or does it capture your attention? You go, whoa, that's a magic.
I think it captures me. I think it definitely, I think you'll be in the middle of it and you won't necessarily be thinking about what it is, and then you'll sort of take a step back out of yourself and go, oh, hang on now. This is something that I'm going to hold on to for a really long time.
How do you embed that in?
I think a lot of it is a sense of wonder and excitement about new things that people are discovering. Often it's more literal. Often there's actual magic. So, I have a series with fairies and I have a series with werewolves, but even in something like Wire Wings, which is purely sci-fi, so it's all sort of things that can really happen. They're experiencing things that are completely new and completely different. It's that what if, right? So that what if gives the ability to draw those moments of magic into the everyday, because suddenly you're confronted with something that is so different from your reality that it feels almost like magic. And that can be, falling in love. It can be discovering a new program. It can be learning about artificial intelligence, or like finding the first new species of, an alien that you've never encountered. Like all of that is magic to me.
That's cool.
So would you equate the feeling that you're getting when that happens to be the same type of feeling like when you get into a flow state of that creativity and that spark?
Absolutely. Yeah. When you're writing a scene and everything is just working and you're bringing something to life and you have that moment of like, yes, this is going to sit on the page and it's going to live after I'm done with it.
So it must be neat when people read the book and then like come into your world of magic.
I certainly hope so. I hope they have that experience and they have that same sense of wonder and engagement that the characters are experiencing as they get to sort of dive in and play with these new worlds.
When you write a book, the first audience you're writing it for is yourself, right?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
I can see how much you enjoy doing it and enjoy the experience of it.
Yeah, for sure. If you're not, like, there's some famous authors from, eons past that have all of these quotes about, writing being this demon that sits on your back. And I'm like, you're doing it wrong. Like, if you're not loving every second of it, something is wrong with what you're writing, because it is a beautiful, magical thing to be able to create. And I mean, editing, that's another whole thing. But when you're writing the first draft, that's where the magic is.
Is the genre that you enjoy the most writing? Because I know that you do a number of different things.
Yeah, I like to play. I have a short attention span. I like to joke, so I get distracted very, very easily. So I write a lot of standalones. I'm doing my first series right now, and it's a big challenge for me because I'm always distracted by the next cool idea and the next interesting thing. I think one of the things I love about sci-fi is it's all a thought experiment at the end of the day, right? It's what if this? And everything that you do in that world is, okay, but what if this? Can I explore that? What if this? Can I explore that? And that is just so fun to my little butterfly brain.
Yeah, because that what if in that sci-fi world and combined with fantasy, anything is possible, right? There
Exactly.
is just a matter of your imagination.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the last ones I did was VR World. So I had that combination of the sci-fi with the sort of fantasy magic of VR, where you can build any world you want, any universe. And it was so much fun to have that sandbox. Just be like, oh, I can do anything. There are no rules here. This is great.
Yeah. Has that always been something like a strong passion or outlet for you, the creativity in like a written format?
Yeah, from the earliest years of my life. When I was like 6 years old, I was writing plays and convincing all of my classmates to put them on, and we were filming them, and I was writing little books. I wrote my first novel when I was like 11. My first book. Yeah, it's always been something that I've been drawn to. My grandfather was a journalist, so I think I come through it to it naturally.
So did you visualize when you were younger that that's what you wanted to be? Like that was the profession and what you were going to dedicate yourself
yes
toward?
And no. So I always knew that I loved writing, but I didn't necessarily think of it as, the be all and end all of my career. There were always other things that I was interested in. I wanted to be a marine biologist until I realized that I was like claustrophobic and afraid of diving. And I wanted to be a ballerina until I realized that I hated like the conformity of the dance. And, there were all kinds of little things that I tried and I played with and I put aside, and writing sort of remained throughout. And as I got more into high school and I realized that could actually be a career, I started to take it a little more seriously.
That's cool. Then what are your goals with it then? Like, where do you see this going, or what do you want it to turn into?
That's a really great question. So I am very, very lucky to be a full-time writer. So it is what I do professionally now, but a lot of it is the stuff for money rather than stuff for fun. So I do a lot of technical writing and ghostwriting. I write ads, all that kind of stuff. And then I also write books and movies and TV shows. And that's the fun stuff that doesn't necessarily pay the bills. So someday, in a perfect world, I would get to do a little bit more of the creative play and a little bit less of the money writing. But the fact that I have gotten to the place where all of my work is writing sometimes just blows my mind. Like, I can't believe that it's actually worked out and I actually get to do something I love so much every day. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
It puts you in that energy of writing, right?
Yes,
That's
definitely.
all you're around all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really easy to sort of slip into that creative writing because I don't have to set my other life and my other world aside. It's all part and parcel of what I do now.
We talked about when we first got together about you doing a reading today, and
Yes.
what was really interesting is when you shared something about what you're going to be reading, you said that you're choosing this because of how proud you are of how it elicits the emotion. What do you mean by that?
So a lot of the stuff that I write is very funny and very light and very casual. So, my Phantasma series is about fairies and bullying in high school, and it's just very sort of silly and light. Wire Wings is a study about identity and grief and what we do with our lives when those things are in transition and we don't know who we are. And it was the first time that I really put that much emotion and heart into something that I wrote. So I'm very proud of how it turned out, and the fact that hopefully it was successful in sort of bringing some of those emotions to the page.
By that you mean?
That hopefully when other people read the book, they'll be able to sort of feel those things and maybe get a sense of catharsis in seeing someone else work through these really challenging, really complicated emotions, that maybe they can sort of go on that journey with her.
That's awesome.
So is it almost like they're feeling the emotions that you were feeling to get through whatever you got through?
It wasn't so much of a personal thing myself. I don't tend to write a lot of myself into my books. I know a lot of people write very therapeutically, and for me it's very much sort of imagination and exploration of things that I find meaningful or powerful or interesting. But I think that it can be really cathartic for readers, hopefully, and that and for myself as a reader, right? When I am going through something and being able to read something where someone is going through something similar, it kind of helps draw you along and makes you think in ways you haven't thought before, or sort of expands your consciousness in a way. I think that can be really moving.
Yeah, I like that explanation. That's neat. So up next is section number 2, the stage spotlight. Take it away, Wren.
So this is just a little ways into the book, and the book has sort of dual narratives of different time periods where we're sort of flashing back to how we got to where we are right now. And this is about the main character, Gracie's best friend, Callista, is in the hospital and she's dying. So this is the scene where she says goodbye to her. So hopefully I'll be able to keep my voice clear for you all as I read this scene. And it takes place 3 months before the main timeline narrative. It's time to say goodbye, honey. Her mother's voice seems to come from miles away. The hospital had become familiar. The noises over the intercom, the antiseptic smell. She knew the faces walking past, could predict the nurses' movements down to a minute. She and Callista had copied all the schedules into their tablets and played betting games on who would walk past when, who peed in what order, whose turn it was to get lunch or coffee. The hospital worked like a machine. Everything made sense, except for those words. Say goodbye. I can't know that, she said, but the words were barely a whisper. Syllables cracked and didn't quite connect, her voice straining past the lump in her throat. Her mother kissed her forehead, a rare moment of tenderness. Do you want me to come with you? She asked. Callista shook her head. Gracie shook her head. Everyone was together in the waiting room, the doctor sending them in one at a time. A twisted parade, but it was the way Callista wanted it. Chaim had been in and out. He couldn't meet Gracie's eyes, ran into his mother's arms in tears and disappeared into his family's embrace. Other friends had come and gone. A week of awkward goodbyes. No one sure if this was really the end, but everyone full of warnings. Say goodbye while you have the chance. Make your peace, as if peace was a thing that could be built on a handful of sentences and a moist hug. Gracie had teased everyone behind their backs to make Callista laugh, though it hurt when she laughed too hard, her body shaking even when she was lying still. Gracie walked into the room. Callista was propped up on 2 pillows, her long black hair tangled and damp with sweat. Her face was pale even for her, and her dark brown eyes seemed to have lost the light that usually danced in their depths. She was already a ghost. Gracie made an unconscious noise and Callista turned her head, smiled. Your turn, she whispered, and chuckled with morbid energy. Gracie sat on the bed beside her. There were already tears in her eyes and she hadn't yet said a word. She took Callista's hand, rubbed a thumb against the papery skin of her fingers. She had no idea how to say goodbye to someone who was still here, someone they told her she might never see again. The longest she had gone without seeing this face was 6 weeks. 6 weeks, when Callista's family took a summer vacation to Paris and they talked on the phone every night. She wasn't sure that counted. You know, you're supposed to say something, right? Callista said. And Gracie nodded, but there were no words to force past the lump in her throat. Callista squeezed her hand, though it obviously cost her. Don't cry, Graciela, she said. She never called her Gracie, said she was more than a diminutive. I'm not, Gracie said, though of course she was. Don't grieve for me just yet, Callista whispered. You can't go, okay? Gracie said, trying to smile. I just can't do it without you. You can't. We have a deal, don't we? Her voice was a squeak. She wanted to be strong and brave, wanted it not to be about her, wanted Callista to be able to be as scared as she needed to be while she was strong for her. There was a hole she couldn't fill with bravado, a terror she'd never felt, and the tears spilled out. We have a deal, Callista said. I won't ever leave you. I love you so much. I love you too, Graciela said through hiccuping sobs. I love you, I love you, I love you.
So I understand what you mean about the emotion.
Thank you.
That was powerful.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was very well done. And yeah.
Yeah, so it's not all that depressing. I definitely picked a moment that hits you in the gut a little bit. But it is all about Gracie and Callista and the sort of echoes of that relationship that happened left her months later.
And now on to the final section, the action step.
One of the things that we really like to focus on, and you know, we touched on it so much during the show, is that message that's behind the book, or the message that the reader could come away with. You know, to be able to leave the reader with something that can empower them in some new way of looking at things or experiencing life. We do that through these action steps where, you know, people can take a certain action step that's connected to the creation and the message that you're putting out through your books. So what have you thought of as far as an action step that you would want the listeners of the show and your readers and the people that you like to inspire to do?
Yeah, so I would love if everyone took a day and spent time looking for that magic moment and see if you can find a moment in a very boring, very normal, very everyday day that makes you feel that sense of magic, that spark that we've been talking about.
That's awesome.
I love that.
I love that.
That's a good one.
You can find me on Twitter. I'm very active there. Post the hashtag #FindTheMagic, and I'll keep an eye out for them, and we can share our moments back and forth and see what awesome moments you'll find.
I really like that.
That's fantastic. So the magic moments that you find in other people's moments that they find the magic in, can you share your best ones with us? Just tag us.
Absolutely, that would be great.
Fantastic.
Yeah, because what might be really cool is one of your fans, of people who engage and has an incredible story. Well, then both of you come back on the show and, you know, share, right?
Yeah, that would be incredible. I'd love to do that.
Is there anything else that you would like to share, something that's coming up or something that, you know, you felt that you just didn't share yet and you'd like people to know about?
If you were curious about the book and you kind of want to pick it up, it will be on sale on March 28th. I'm doing a big promo event that week. So you can check it out for $1, $2, something like that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And otherwise, where can we find your books?
They're available at all the regular places you can find books. So they're on Amazon, and they're on Barnes & Noble, and they're on all those services, print and ebook.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me. This was a really, really interesting conversation. I had a blast.
Thank you again for joining us. Thank you everyone for listening in. And this has been another episode of Tuning In with Jeff and sometimes Mindy.
So Jeff, what was your biggest takeaway from this? Or what did you enjoy the most?
Do you know what was really cool was seeing how passionate she is about what she does. Because it's like her face lit up when she got to share that she gets to write for like a living, like that's what she does. When she read her book, like there was so much emotion, I think, that was coming across when she was reading it. And just when she shared, like, just her whole creative process and the way that she approaches things, I thought that was really cool.
It reaffirms that when you discover your passion and you delve into it, that it creates passion and it creates excitement and joy in your life. So that's a good takeaway too, for people to tap into her passion and say, hey, there must be passion inside me as well. Let me go find it.
Yeah.
And then pursue it.
So what was your favorite part of the interview today?
The hashtag, find the magic.
Yeah.
Because I think it's true. I think everyone can find the magic. And I think that it's really cool that she's on the lookout for people who decide to go and find the magic and share it with her. And yeah, I think that's really neat, because once you go out to look for the magic and you're struck by the magic, then it also makes you feel good. And that's like what we're all about.
That's very cool. Yeah, I like that hashtag too. So if you want to find out more about the show and the episodes, head over to tuningin.club. There are other hashtags and action steps that people are issuing so that you can go on your journey of self-discovery and growth. And glad that you had the time to take and spend with us on our show today.
Tuning in with Jeff.
And sometimes Mindy. Or behind us, Jeff and Mindy.
Today's show is brought to you in part by the Muskoka Lakes Hotel and their VIP Wellness Suite upgrades.
Tuning in with Jeff and sometimes Mindy supports the Rethink Fit initiative, empowering you to take action to love better how you think, feel, function, look, and dream. Visit www.unleashyoursuperhero.com.